Okay, you guys are on.
Okay, so vaccines are alive, weakened, or dead versions of the bacteria or virus that you're being vaccinated against. And what vaccines do is that they help build antibodies which fight against the vaccine or the disease once it infects you, if it does.
For this project, our main overall driving question was how can we make the Bay Area a better place? And off of that, we branched into vaccinations and how can we raise the vaccination rate before kindergarten in the Bay Area.
Okay, so Gunnar and I personally are pro-vaccine because the benefits outweigh any downsides that you might see. The side effects that might occur are very rare, and the disease is still worse than all the side effects. And the diseases are still terrible, like polio paralyzes you sometimes, and most of them can actually be fatal. And there have also been some diseases, or actually one disease called smallpox, which was eradicated in the 70s because of a worldwide movement for vaccines.
So on May 15th, we got to have a field research day, and so we went out and went to Dr. Montgomery's office, and she showed us where vaccines are held, which is in a fridge or a freezer, and what the syringe is, and how you use it to give someone a vaccine, and then what the vials of vaccines look like. And we got to ask her and her boss questions about vaccines, about autism, about some of the side effects, and we learned about what some of the old diseases could do to you, which is awful. They're awful pictures. They're like rashes, scabs, people paralyzed, and yeah.
And then earlier that day, we went to the new UCSF campus at Mission Bay, and we talked with Dr. Hills, who has a PhD in epidemiology, which is the study of the causes and patterns of diseases. And she has been doing a worldwide case control study for pediatric strokes, and she's found that routine vaccinations help lower that because pediatric strokes occur when there's infection in your lungs or heart, and vaccines are kind of anti-infection, so that's helped lower pediatric strokes.
Also, later in the afternoon, we went around to some baby stores and daycare sorts of daycare places, and we weren't allowed to ask any of the customers any questions, but we are allowed to ask some of the owners or people that work there. And all of them that we asked personally were pro-vaccine, so we haven't gotten any anti-vaccine. No one has told us they're anti-vaccine when we were out on the street talking to people.
There's also been a lot of wrong information and a lot of on mainstream media and stuff like that. Mostly Andrew Wakefield, who did a study which revoked his license and was proved wrong a few years ago, involving 12 kids, which is very small, and how autism and vaccines are connected. And how he got those 12 kids is he went to a birthday party and paid them for their blood samples. That's what he did. And also a person who really helped make this a really mainstream and put it all over the internet was Jenny McCarthy, who has no scientific or medical background and was a reality TV show host or person.
And so why should you care? If you have a child and you're in the park watching him play, and there is an asymptomatic carrier who is not vaccinated or has never been, whose family has not vaccinated him, cuts himself, or maybe he's playing with your son and gets a little blood on him or something by accident, or that your son could catch that disease, and it could just start a whole thing in your community. So vaccinating your child would just increase your community's health and public safety around revolving around diseases. And also, if you think everyone else is vaccinated, why should I vaccinate? that's not the case because you're probably not the only one that thinks that. There's probably more than one person in your whole neighborhood that thinks that everyone else is vaccinated, which could also start a big upbringing of diseases.
And if people who say that, like, everybody else is vaccinated, why should I? It's actually started to cause outbreaks of whooping cough and measles specifically. There's a whooping cough outbreak in Pacifica right now, and there's a measles outbreak at Cal as we speak. There was a study done by the CDC which showed 22,000 people getting an HPV vaccine and 22,000 people getting a placebo, which is just a sugar pill. It's to show whether something is working or not. And for the real vaccine, 858 people told the scientists that they were feeling side effects of the vaccine, and 18 people died during the overall study, and those were either related to something that they caught or that's just like a car crash or something like that. And for the placebo, 852 people reported vaccines and 15 people died. Same thing, sometimes related and sometimes not related. But this shows that the vaccine itself is not causing side effects, like something would be like rashes or like a runny nose, some allergic reactions, and that it's actually probably that something wasn't properly sterilized. So yeah.
Also, a placebo is a fake version of the vaccine, like a sugar pill, or just it won't do anything to you. It's just basically a blank, just a blank put into your body, and it won't do anything to you. So that's why these stats show the difference. And we also figured out another grouping of we've also found another grouping of information from the CDC, which was that vaccinating every child born this year would save 33,000 lives, prevent 14 million infections, and save $10 billion in like hospital costs. And this was crazy because everyone thinks that it's awful, that vaccines are awful, but that's only a section of the people. A lot of people think it's good, but then there's they can't really help their public health and the lot and lives of some children because other people think differently and they're not vaccinating. And also, if money is the problem to you and you cannot vaccinate your child, it'll cost more for hospital bills, a lot more. If you do not vaccinate, you'll have to bring your child to the hospital. And there also are some organizations going around helping people who cannot afford vaccines get vaccinations and help them lowering the cost of vaccinations.
We plan to hold a public event, like a festival or a concert or something like that, and just publicize or like make as much of the information that we have public, so that people learn like what happens when you get some of these diseases and how terrible that they can be. And just showing, like, if we hosted a concert, like, between every song or something like that, we'd stand up and say a little bit more about what we're trying to do. And entering and exiting the concert, we'd have, like, donation boxes for people to donate to help get more people who might not be able to afford vaccines vaccinated.
And also, we will be having, like, flyers just so people can take home the information on a piece of paper so they won't forget or they can read over it another time. And we are trying to target high 20s, low 30s, because that's when people are usually trying, usually trying to start a family or have just maybe started a family. And so we were thinking around like some local bands like Green Day to perform because they first came out around the age group that we're trying to target, and they're a local band from Oakland, so. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What if you get a vaccine while you're pregnant? Can that affect your baby?